Hello guys, what's up? Finally sir, crawling somehow slowly. Yeah, we came to your technically I call it module 2 because you have 3 modules, but the second module there is only one chapter, so I have merged it into your first book only. Now we are going through your second book for corporate and economic laws, that is economic laws. So people, we are done with corporate laws part. Sir, that is to say we have completed 70 marks till now. We have completed 70 marks till now. How do you think, how confident you are? So people, whatever is possible from my end, I have done. Make sure people dig in through the MTPs, RTPs, previous question papers. That helps a lot, people. That is the key. That's the key. Yeah. So you need to hang on to all of those things. Yeah, so try to do that, and also whatever is the questionnaire which is given by your institute itself, try to go through that also. Yes, so we have completed your 70 marks. Yay, dab. Yes, dab. Yes sir. Now sir, now we are left with the 30 marks part. So people, the 70 marks covers your corporate laws. Sir, the 30 marks is economic laws. Economic deals with money, somewhat with regards to money. Somehow there will be some money involved. Yeah, so we'll be dealing with economic laws from today. So said that, so let us start. Sir, what is the weightage? So people, this is your weightage. We are done with your 70 marks part, correct? So we are done with all this. So once we have done, that is the reason I have just taken a pause here. So you can just pause it and go through. This is how the questions will be asked. This is what will be the weightage. Yeah. So give it a pause, go through what will be the weightage. Is this clear? Yes. So people, now whatever this particular thing, this percentage is on 70 here. Now whatever you see here, this percentage is on 30. So we are starting with 30 marks economic laws. So you can see the percentages here are on 30. So if you see 20 to 30%, that is on 30. Yeah. And K to be given, people, here one chapter is not there. So what do you mean by chapter is not there? SARFAESI, that is here, if you can see that second chapter, securitization and reconstruction of assets. So yes people, so here whatever you see, this chapter number 2, this is no longer there, right? SARFAESI is no longer there. So excluding that, now whatever the chapters we are going to start, sir, the first chapter will have a weightage of around 20 to 30%. Ideally it was first and second together. Now we are not quite sure how the marks distribution may happen. It's the same here as well. Yes, the securities contract regulation, this has been removed. Now it is only this what you studied. So these two put together was 15 to 20. Now there is only one remaining. So we are not quite sure on what is the marks allocation. Is this clear, all of you? So pause for a while. As I told you the first day, that day you will not understand. Now I know we have gone through. So you can just pause for a while and know it for your reference. This is what is going to be the weightage of the chapters. So I do not suggest to leave any chapter, but yes, at least you need to know everything. And in the last second, you should know which is very, very important. Clear, all of you? Okay, sir. Sir said that. Let us come back. Economic laws, people, the 30 marks part we are starting today. The first chapter is FEMA 1999. Sir, FEMA 1999. Most of you would have already had a pre-notion. Sir, FEMAs are difficult, sir. Most of you, or someone would have scared you. Ayyo, magga, FEMA, kerle, beda. Someone would have at least told you. Yes. Sir. So is it difficult? People, I'll tell you, it is not at all difficult. It is not at all difficult. Is it, sir? It is not at all difficult. Then, sir, it is a little vast. Yeah. When I say vast, there are a lot of concepts which you need to remember. That is the first challenge. Second challenge, people, in FEMA, the problem is the information is scattered. So, for example, imagine if I have to tell you about anything. Assume if I have to tell you about, say there is a concept in your FEMA called as current account transaction. So under this, there are a lot of branches, So this will be confusing for students. Sir, what is this? Sir, what is this? Sir, what is this? We are not understanding. So to understand that, I will give you a very good outlay of what is under what. First, I'll give you that, and then everything will be given under that so that you can clearly remember. Yes, and in FEMA, I'll be giving you as many questions as possible. I'm trying to put it in the material itself. So even that, at least the past 6 to 7 question papers, I'll be giving you in the material itself. So quickly you will know, okay, this is what, or this is how the questions can be asked. Yeah, and in addition to that, yes, I'll be discussing it in the class also. So I believe that should be sufficient. What say? Comment below. Okay. Now listen carefully, people. Let us start Chapter 1, Foreign Exchange Management Act 1999. Now, before I explain you what is this Foreign Exchange Management Act 1999, let me first explain you what is the history. Sir, why do we need a FEMA, or why did we even need FEMA in India? So people, what generally happened when India, I'm talking about year prior to 19th century, assume somewhere between 14th to 19th century, what happened to India? There were a lot of countries, a lot of companies which came to India. They started looting us. They said we are going to invest money in India. That is how East India Company came. They said we are going to set up a harbor sort of thing in West Bengal. Yes, sir. So that is how everything started. But what did they do? They ended up looting us. So they said we are going to invest money in India. We are going to create opportunities in India. But the end result was not at all favorable to us. So this impact was there on us. Okay. Now what used to happen? Now go back. There were a lot of people who came to India. Now let us look at a perspective only from the Britishers' point of view. They were investing a lot of money into India and they were taking back a lot of money into India. The problem is Britishers were putting in dollars, but they were getting back rupees, or today it is a rupee, but back then we had our own currencies, Anna or whatever, Paise, we had our own currencies. So they were taking back that. Now we had to know whether we are in a profit or loss, right? How can you match these two things? Yeah. So Britishers formally first introduced an act for foreign exchange. Sir, what do you mean by foreign exchange? Foreign exchange, people, in very, very layman's terminology, remember it as exchange of two currencies. Yeah, it is an exchange of two currencies. That is, you are giving your rupee, you may be getting your dollar, or you may be giving a dollar and getting a rupee. So there is some foreign currencies involved. That is called as foreign exchange. So Britishers first introduced the law in India for this foreign exchange in the year 1939. Okay, sir. So they gave us a foundation, and after that, sir, they left back. India got its independence. Now in the year 1947, India now wanted to shut down all its doors. India literally shut down all its doors. We no longer trusted any foreign people. You Gore people, you white people, or you any other people. Going forward, you are not allowed to come into India. There were very strict regulations. We did not allow 1 rupee to come in. We did not allow $1 to come in. We did not allow 1 rupee to go out. We just shut our doors. When, sir? After our independence. So in 1939, Britishers formally introduced the law. In 1947, we had to make a law where we shut down our doors. We just closed our doors for foreign exchange. We said, do not invest. We had enough from you guys. You guys looted us for this while, that is sufficient. Just go back. We don't want anything from you. Now, this was the stage called as FERA. This was the stage where the India, not the British India, we ourselves passed our first law for foreign exchange called as FERA. FERA, Foreign Exchange Regulation Act. Foreign Exchange Regulation. People, the word regulation means to control. The word regulation means to control. Sir, how was it under FERA? People, FERA was terror. FERA means terror. Meaning, sir, in FERA itself you had, FERA was fear. Meaning, sir, people, everything is shut. Meaning, sir, we did not allow anyone to come and invest in India. Imagine people, if at all because of some reason you were caught or you did not comply with some Foreign Exchange Regulation Act regulations that day, if you were caught, people straight away imprisonment. No penalty also. Straight away criminal offense, you will be put behind the bar. Sir, opportunity of being and all, nothing. First you will be put behind the bar. Meaning, people back then, if at all you did any non-compliance, even a hint of it, if the government got to know that you did not comply with the law, straight away people, mens rea was assumed. What do you mean by mens rea? People, mens rea means guilty mind. The word mens rea means guilty mind. Back then people, if at all there was any offense, mens rea was assumed. Sir, we did not understand exactly what is mens rea. In a very quick example, I'll tell you. Imagine there was a girl. The girl killed a boy. Now you guys tell me whether the girl should be punished or not. I repeat the example. There was a girl. The girl stabbed, killed a boy. Now you tell me whether the girl should be punished or not. Huh? All of you said yes, she should be punished. Why? Sir, murder or killing any person in India is illegal. You cannot kill any person, correct? Now I'll continue the story. The girl killed the boy because the boy attempted a rape on this girl. Now, whether whatever the girl did, now tell me, is it right or wrong? What? Sir, now you are telling it is right. Whatever she did is right. She should kill him, correct? Agreed. Now what made you guys change your decision? First you said killing is bad. Now you are saying killing is good. How? Because you heard about the circumstances. This is called mens rea. With what intention the person did a crime, you need to know. Yeah. So people, in today's date, the court has to prove that the other person had mens rea. Now police will arrest that person. Now police will try to prove that girl killed without any intention. That is, sir, there was no attempt to rape, or the other party will try to prove there was no attempt to rape. She just killed, vengeance. They will try to prove, it is not assumed. But back then, FERA, if you did anything wrong, government did not even give you a chance. Straight away, government said you did it with a guilty mind. No, nothing. First you go sit in the jail, and after going inside you talk. That is it was assumed. Okay, sir. Second one. By now we have seen, what is that? Compounding of offenses. Compounding of offense. Meaning compromise. You did something wrong. Obviously people. Back then I told you, the very predominant penalty was imprisonment. If you did any wrong, jail only. So, sir, if at all jail is there, then can you compound the offense? So, compounding of offense was not possible. Yes. So, everything there was imprisonment. Sir, and the state of the country was very, very bad. Economically, India was very, very bad. Yes, sir, FERA. Now, people, what happened? India started doing, whatever is possible, we try to do. We started our journey. We did not even have, any good infrastructure. We started our journey with zero balance. We started our journey with zero balance. Sir, what do you mean by that? A little while later, I'll tell you. Now, people, because of FERA, there was absolutely no growth at all in India. So, people, it was a time in the year 1991 and 2. It was in the year 91 and 92. Yes, people, listen carefully. Sir, in the year 91-92, economically India was very, very backward. We were doing very, very bad, people. That time there was a very, very renowned finance minister. Till today, yes, he is one of the most eligible finance minister India has seen. Of course, there were even more, even there were better people also. But yes, even this person was one of the most India's most eligible finance minister India had seen. This person became the finance minister of India. That is when India started growing economically. If you see, people, this person was a finance minister in the year 91 to 96. During this period, India actually, people, shifted from slum to whatever is today. This person is the main reason. Sir, whom are we talking about? People, we are talking about Manmohan Singh. Sir, who? Manmohan Singh. The same person, whomever you know. He was not able to perform good as a prime minister. Yeah, and even in public, he did not carry a good image because of whatever reasons. But he was a very, very good finance minister. People, during that time, this person stressed on something which had to be followed, that is LPG. Sir, liquefied petroleum gas, LPG means what? People, privatization, liberalization, globalization. Until then, everything in India was done by government. Private people were not able to do anything. So what did we do? We liberalized. We said it's okay. Yeah. So let us try to make our laws a little simple. It was very, very stringent. So as I said you, FERA, if you do any mistake, imprisonment. We started liberalizing, meaning making certain things easy. It need not be so difficult. And then we did privatization. What is privatization? People, back then, everything government, transport government, tourism government, anything and everything is government. Jobs government, nothing else was there. So people, privatization, where even certain domains and departments were made open for private people to come and do their business. And the last part, G, globalization. Now we have to grow. How? Now it is a time that our people should go and they have to expand their businesses not only in India, we have to expand even globally. By then, people, Tata was there, Reliance was there, Infosys was there, big people were already there in India. Now it was time to grow. Now if we want to grow, don't you think other countries also would want to set up their entities in India? So people, we said welcome now. So finally, people, LPG gave a little way for investments into India. And finally, in the year 1999, we passed an act called as FEMA. What is FEMA? Foreign Exchange. Now it became Management Act. Earlier it was Foreign Exchange Regulation. Regulation means control. They were controlling. They did not leave you. Now it became Foreign Exchange Management. Meaning, we will try to regulate you. We will try to oversee things. But we will not control everything in FEMA. So, sir, we gave a green flag. Now, people, whatever are the drawbacks you saw here, all these things changed. Meaning, sir, now mens rea is not assumed. If any person is caught, who caught him? Sir, customs, sir, police. They have to prove that this person is a wrongdoer. Now, you need not prove that I am not a wrongdoer. Who caught you will prove that that person is a wrongdoer. Earlier, you had to prove, sir, I did not do any wrong. Now they will prove that yes, you did wrong. So the ball is in their court now. It is their onus. You need not break your head. Next one. Now the offenses are compoundable. You can go for a compromise. Third one. Now for everything it is not imprisonment. Now majorly we try to do with money. Yeah, if you did a mistake, try to pay penalty and go out, get out. Now people, India started doing good. Economically we started improving. Yeah, so this was the phase of FEMA. Yeah, if at all they ask you the history or the difference between FERA and FEMA, just remember this 4-5 points, more than sufficient. They will not ask you, but yes, if they ask you, remember this. Is this clear, all of you? Okay, sir. Now we saw how FEMA came into picture, a little more about something dollars, rupees and all we saw. Okay. Now listen carefully, people. When we got independence on the day one, yeah, after we got our independence on the day one. After our independence, people, $1 was equal to 1 rupee. When we got our independence, $1 on the day one, I'm telling, we were equal. $1 is equal to 1 rupee. So today, sir, $1 is equal to around 80 rupees. It keeps fluctuating, but let us assume it is 80 rupees. Now, what is the factor, people, which made this inflation? Why is the $1 same, but to buy $1 today we have to give 80 rupees? Why? So people, there are a lot of factors. Always remember, people, always remember, for your currency to be strong, our country's economic position should change. Sir, how will that happen? Listen to this very carefully. People, every country will have something called as foreign exchange reserve. Every country will have foreign exchange reserves. Yeah, sir. So people, to give you an example, generally what happens now, people, assume whoever is the, the banker of the country. Every country will have a banker, that is the main banker. Sir, for India it is RBI. This person looks after a reserve. What is this reserve? Just like every company will have a reserve, during your bad days you want to make use of that reserve, even the country will have this reserve. Sir, why do we need this reserve? Listen carefully. And how do we get this reserve? Imagine your normal company. If you want reserves, how will it happen? The main and the easy thing is your profits should increase. You need to transfer it to your reserves. Sir, that is the most efficient way. Now people, same thing. RBI maintains an account. Now people, imagine if at all a country does a lot of export. If a country does a lot of export, that is, we are selling our product outside India. Now we will earn dollars. Now whenever I say dollar here, people, you can get any currency, but I'm just referring, whenever I say dollar, that means a foreign currency. Yeah. Now whenever you do an export, you will get foreign currency. Sir, so whenever you export, foreign currencies will come into India. RBI maintains a foreign exchange reserve in terms of dollars. So this is an account maintained by RBI, and the more account we have, the more balance we have, the more better we are. Yes, sir. So people, RBI, whenever the citizens of India or the people of India, if they do exports, the balance of the forex reserve will go up. Now it is left to you, sir. When will the forex reserves come down? Yes, people, you guys rightly guessed it. Whenever you guys import, whenever you're buying anything from outside India, now people, what will happen? You will have to pay in dollars. Now, when they are paying you in dollars, export, what is happening, sir? When you are selling there, that person will pay you in his money. Yeah. So now when you have to pay him there only. Yes, sir. Now you will again pay him in dollars, for which you will utilize your dollar reserve. To pay in dollars. Now you tell me, today I'll ask you $100. Do you guys have it? Today I ask you $100. Do you guys have it? The answer is no. Then from where will you get? If you import something, from where will you get the dollars to pay for it? From where will you get? People, you need to go to RBI. You should ask for dollars and you will give rupees in return. Imagine if the product you imported is $10. You will give RBI 10 into 80 rupees. Yeah. So whatever is 800 rupees, so you will give 800 rupees to RBI. RBI will give you $10. That $10 you will take and you will go and give it to the seller. So people, RBI's dollar went down. If you export, RBI's dollar increases. India people didn't even have dollar reserves. Forget about reserve. We were in deficit. India had a lot of gold, people. When we wanted, you know that, no? India has very rarely come up with a surplus budget. We never came up with a surplus budget. Always we are a deficit budget. If I'm not wrong, from the day the budget is introduced, I believe once we have come up with a surplus budget. Or else every time it was a deficit budget. Whenever the country's money is this much, expenses is this much, how will you meet it? So what did the government of India used to do? They used to go to World Bank, keep our gold there, get some loan, manage the country's economy. Now, will World Bank give you money free of cost? No. India was in a status, we were not even able to pay the interest amount. Forget about the principal. Whatever is the money given by World Bank, we were not even able to pay the interest. Next year again we used to take loan principal plus interest. We were not having money. So World Bank gave for 5-6 years. Now World Bank said until the past debts are cleared, we are not going to give you any more money. That is when people in India, capital market was also in boom. Again because of the finance minister Manmohan Singh. We wanted the surplus cash in the economy to come into the system. If you just maintain it in the cash, what will the economy do with that? So they wanted you to get into the economy. How? Capital market, banking system. So that is the reason all these people, if these are all connected. Okay, sir. Now people, so we were not even having people reserve a deficit we had. We didn't even have 1 rupee. From 1 rupee, not even 1 rupee. We didn't even have 1 rupee. From that day to today. See, here are the 10 countries with the largest foreign currency reserve assets as on Jan 2020. First is always China, people. Look at the foreign currency reserves. People, 3,399. Assume 3,400 billion dollars. 3,400 billion. 1 billion, 100 crores. 3,400 crores. I mean 3,400 billion dollar. $1, 80 rupees. Try to convert and see what is the amount they have. Japan, Swiss, Russia, Arabia. Can you see India? We finally have people around $500. This was in the year 2020. But people, you know what? In the lockdown, I'll give a mind teaser for you. In the lockdown, try to pause and think. That is from 2020 to assume 2021. Till today, 2021, assume Jan 1st. So, sir, till today, what do you think would have happened? This forex reserve, is it gone down or has it gone up? That's a generic question. Yeah. What do you think would have happened? Yeah. You know what, people? All of you are absolutely wrong. What? Your answer was it would have gone down, no? Your answer is that it has gone down, no? People actually, you know what? I believe in the month of August 2021, our forex reserve was $600 billion. Sir, how is it possible? People, because during this lockdown, our policies were even more liberalized, and we said a green flag. Hey, people, come and invest in India. People come and invest in India. So we started getting lots and lots and lots of foreign investment. Sir, give us one example. People, Facebook, Mark Zuckerberg invested in Reliance. He purchased almost 10% of the stake. Thousands of crores. So imagine, Mark Zuckerberg will not invest in rupees. He would have invested in dollars. So what Mark Zuckerberg will do? Now Mark Zuckerberg will go and give dollars to RBI. RBI will give rupees to him. He will take that rupees and put that money into Reliance. Ulta. Import, you go, you give rupees to RBI, RBI gives you dollars. So people, even foreign investment will increase our currency. I mean, it will increase our reserves. Yes. Now, sir, why do we need reserves? People, we need reserves because tomorrow, imagine there is no exports. Now, lockdown happened. People, but certain things won't stop. Things like, sir, people import. Our major import people, we import coal. We import oil. People, we import petroleum. Your petrol and diesel. For that, how will you make payments? You have to make payments in dollars. For that, at least you need dollars. So without forex reserve, this is what will be your situation. Getting the point. So people, remember carefully. So remember this concept this way. If at all you are increasing our forex reserve, RBI will support you. RBI will say, hey, go beta, go. Do whatever you want. Yeah, you are my, what is that? You are the son of the nation or you are the daughter of the nation. You are required for us. People, if at all you are doing import, you are depleting our balance, RBI will not say no, but RBI will ask you questions here. RBI will put certain restrictions here. RBI won't let it happen so easily. It will ask you why. It will not say absolutely no. It will give you certain limits. Are you getting the point? So this is basically the history and why we need to know FEMA. Is this clear? All of you? Pakka? Yes? Okay. Now before starting, sir, what before starting? We are yet to start. Before starting, I'll tell you certain important concepts in this particular chapter. Try to give a little more preference to these things. The first important concept, they may ask you, who is an authorized person? So regarding this person, there is a little weightage. Next one is your residential status. Residential status. This is very, very important. Sir, the next one talks about capital and current account transaction. Capital and current account transactions. Again, this is very, very important. If the questions come, people, from these two things, assume if 10 questions are asked, these two concepts will at least have 8 questions. So that important these two concepts are. Yes, sir. And apart from that, under current account and capital account only, there is one small concept called as LRS. Liberalized remittance scheme. We'll be studying about that. We'll be also studying about external commercial borrowings, ECB provisions. We'll also be studying about adjudications, appeals, and all that part. More or less, yes, we'll revolve around these things. Yes. Yes, if at all I find anything else as when we go by, I'll be telling you, but yes, these two concepts are very, very, very important. Clear, all of you? Awesome. So this was your history. This is your structure of the FEMA. What is there? This is what we'll be seeing. Almost everything we'll be seeing. Yeah. Okay, sir.